Hello, everyone. My name is Bobby Perry. This is episode 92 of BPerryFilms Podcast. I have the pleasure of interviewing Garrent Lang, founder of My Development Mavens. Garrett has an interesting career because he has future-proofed his business with skills in software development, mastering techniques in AI. And, all you guys love that. He has over 20 years of experience in software engineering. His goal is to help hospitality and restaurant businesses generate more leads and stay current with new technologies and software, thereby providing them resources from going out of business since COVID has made a major factor in all of our lives. Many tech companies are laying off their employees and replacing them with AI tools to save on cash flow and keep up to demand. The goal of this video is to help new tech developers and software engineers feel more prepared for new roles that they will be taking on. I will be asking them some good questions that will help you decide if this is a career that you want to pursue. So, Garrett, take the time and introduce yourself and what you do.
Sure. I started my career as a software developer in the 1990s. I went through GE CIO leadership training program until, starting in 2001, 2-year leadership program, moved up the ranks in GE Capital until I reported to the CIO of a $250 million net income business. That's when the financial services crisis came, so I left that business, went to a MarTech business and got them to the upper right quadrant to be a leader in the Forrester report. And they said that was great, but can you improve our profitability? And so I more than doubled their operating margin in less than 8 months. They were sold a couple of years later for $450 million.
Wow.
So I like to think I had a significant part in that. Then I was about 7 or 8 years in ad tech, MarTech, managed two-thirds of the Nielsen Marketing Cloud when I was there. I invented a product that defended Nielsen's core business against people who could have taken it from them. And then I was at PwC in a joint venture with Google. Had a 50-person org of everything software development, so product management, UX, iOS, Android, web development, and QA. And half the team was in Shanghai, half in New York City. I was dabbling in plate rate in my nights and weekends at the time, and I really enjoyed entrepreneurship. So I decided to step away from PwC and be an entrepreneur full time. And I have been for 7 years. About Plate rate took a lot of building because it was my first B2C company, and then I started a profitability consulting firm about a year and a half ago, after helping a restaurant go from, losing $20,000 a month to earning $40,000 a month in profit in about a year. I said, hey, I want to help companies be more profitable. And so, yes, I use software to create competitive advantage and help companies thrive, but I also help with a whole bunch of other profitability enhancers that just help the bottom line grow.
So, we know technology is one of the biggest craze and it goes viral anytime when people say software engineer, product management, AI, people just go crazy because they have no idea what's going on. And there was a time where people felt that, okay, let me future proof myself, let me dive deep into the future and apply for just companies and maybe healthcare. Those used to be the two industries besides beauty that would never go out of style and you always felt secure. But now I'm hearing Facebook is laying off people, Uber's laying off people, Lyft, um, so many different companies. And even Apple's having some trouble here and there. So, it's like you always have to think, what if? We always have to plan for anything unexpected to happen. So, always have that backup plan. And it sounds like you definitely had a backup plan. But like, I have all these skills. Why not I start my own side hustle on the side and make it work? Build up a clientele. I already got a network. It's all about building those connections.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think having a side gig is really always a good idea. Back when I started my career, if you had a side gig, you would get fired. And so you just didn't do it back then, but now it's much more acceptable to have a side gig,
Hmm.
even with big companies. And I think it's always smart to have a side gig where you have a chance at a big long-term,
Oh, yeah,
improvement, like in financial, in income, whether it's through equity or revenue share or an exit. But having that kind of stable income and having a side gig at the same time is probably the safest way to dabble in entrepreneurship. As far as future proofing, it's been said a lot, but I was saying it from very early on, which is that AI will remove a lot of jobs, but the people who are still going to have jobs are the ones that know how to use AI and know how to use it really effectively. And that's one of my strengths. I've been doing AI since 2001. That was my specialty in computer science. I didn't mention that, but that was my focus. And I've built my own AI algorithms in my software products pretty much my whole career. So I would teach my developers how to implement AI algorithms. Now, not everybody has to do that, right? But nowadays, just knowing how to use AI in the ways that you can leverage it to be more effective and productive in a company is great. I'm actually starting a group called AI Made Simple, where we're going to teach the basics of AI. First of all, why you need to know it, which I kind of just touched on now, but we'll get into more depth. And then, like, how do you use AI in everyday ways to help you personally and professionally? Because there are just so many ways that can improve people's lives that I want to introduce that to people.
definitely. Could you give us a brief summary of what software engineering is and how do
Sure.
people get become a part of it?
Sure. Software engineering historically is really understanding how to write code. It's really understanding algorithms, data structures. So, like, a description of what the software is supposed to do essentially, and how do you store data in technology so that you can accomplish the things you want to, which is what data structures are. And before that, I mentioned algorithms. So, understanding the way that technology works and how to make it work for you. Now, technology has been going, I guess, how to say this, the ability to write, like develop software has been getting easier and easier over the years. In the very beginning, you had something called assembly language, which is like a very rudimentary thing that it took huge amount of time and effort to build even some really small, simple app.
Mhm.
And and now you can have even no technical skills and still build software. And so I'm teaching people on my team how to do that. And it's called vibe coding. It's a very, it's a thing. And so
Definitely.
it's getting easier and easier to build software. And as that happens, entrepreneurship, I think, and people who can build great products are gonna like, there's gonna be this huge influx of software that
Mhm.
does things that no one ever thought of or imagined, except for the creative entrepreneurs that came up with those ideas. And there are going to be so many more options than there are today. Whereas a lot of times today, there will be one, two, three, maybe four big companies that do something. There will be, a much huger number of players in the future.
Definitely. Do you feel like there has to be a certain age for you to start? Because I even see some people at Apple that are like little kids learning
Yeah,
code. I think they're like 3 or 4 using Swift Playground. I'm not sure
yeah.
that one.
I taught my kids HTML when they were 6. Now I'm going to teach them how to build basically. I'm going to have them be on a team. I'm building an AI tutor for kids, so K through 12 kids, and they're going to be on the team and they'll be helping build the tutor. And I basically on a car trip built a roadmap with them for that app, and it's going to be really exciting when it comes out.
Definitely. I would definitely love to know more about it as we continue on.
Yeah.
I know with many industries, well, we'll say like cosmetology, for example, or even writing business plans. You have to do trainings every couple of years. So, what is like the upkeep requirement, even for bookkeeping? There has to be certain vocabulary you must master, certain technologies that are new to keep current. How do you prepare, or do you have to get recertifications? What does that look like?
So in technology, it's much less about certifications and credits and stuff like a lot of traditional industries. It's much more about can you deliver things? And if
Mhm.
you can deliver things that are effective, like meaning that they work and they accomplish something meaningful, you can get a job. You don't even need a high school education, let alone a college education to be a software developer. I know many people who had careers in technology and had never graduated college. And so it's really more of a meritocracy and less of, how many credentials do you have behind your name. That's not really that important in technology. What matters is can you deliver? And
Mhm.
so I see it as much more of a meritocracy in that regard, although there's still lots of room to improve. But I would say it's more of a meritocracy than a lot of other fields where if you don't have, a certain degree, you don't even get a foot in the door. There's just no way to.
Definitely.
And the same is true with entrepreneurship. Like there's no degrees or credentialing that you need to be an entrepreneur. You just say you want to be an entrepreneur, you do it. And if you can make money doing it, great. If you have a good sense for business and you can build a good business model, I like to create all my business models in a win-win sort of way where everybody wins together. So,
Definitely. I remember when I was growing up and people used the word entrepreneurship, they were just like, okay, what do you really do? It's kind of like when
right.
people hear that someone's an influencer, even though that they're telemarketers, people are just like, okay, what do you do that influences people? Is it just your numbers on a social media? What exactly do you do? And they can't really describe what they do, you know?
Yeah. I think it's important to be able to describe what you do as an entrepreneur, right? I'm building a business. So usually I'm building software and then I, you know, make money by people using the software. And so that's the win-win sort of way. Is like I usually don't charge just to get access to the software, which is what a lot of software products do, most of them, in fact.
Mhm.
I I charge when the software adds value to someone's life. And that's how I say that it's a win-win is because I don't charge unless I'm helping someone. And that's how I think business models should be. It creates more of a win-win sort of opportunity.
Mhm. Definitely.
And that kind of brings me to generous capitalism, if you don't mind if I mention that real quick.
Go ahead.
So my businesses are all generous capitalist businesses. I'm trying to coin that term, which means that we're more generous with the customers, the suppliers, which in plate rates case is the restaurants, and the employees, and then once we're profitable with the community as well. And so the idea is that the benefits of capitalism for a generous capitalist business are going to everybody, not just the people who own the capital.
Definitely. I think it's important for I feel like it's a responsibility for us because as we're growing up, there were so many people that inspired us to be who we are today, no matter what industry, and they had an opportunity to give back to us. So I think it's important for us to give back. Whether it doesn't always have to be a monetary value, but it could be just you being there, listening to them, show them a little bit of your lifestyle, get them to experience something that's not in the norm or
Yep.
something to have access to, you know?
Yep, definitely. And I think by being more generous, actually, a generous capitalist business is going to win in the free markets. And I want to inspire other entrepreneurs to do that because, I've asked hundreds of people, would you rather do business with a generous company or a greedy one? And well, no one said the greedy one yet. So I think we're competing against greedy capitalist businesses, which we are as Play Rate. Then we have a much better chance of succeeding against them because we're just more generous with everyone.
Definitely. So, how did you get into niching? I talk about it a lot with my clients, especially in my webinars. Everyone's like, niche, 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 niche. And I always tell people, you don't always have to find a niche. Let the niche come to you. Just keep doing what you're doing and people will organically come to you. Do you feel like
Yeah.
in technology you have to be very specific on what you have to do for your craft?
So, I think your approach is good in that you don't always know your niche in the beginning. And I've heard stories of other people that like they started doing advertising and they thought their niche was I forget what it was. It was either men or women, and whatever it was, I think it was that they thought their niche was men, and then it turned out that it was all women that bought gifts for men that turned out to be their niche. So, you have to kind of keep an open mind and see what the numbers say and use analytics and data to analyze the people who like what you're doing the most. And I'm working right now on an entrepreneurial like accelerator of sorts or boot camp type of thing where part of what you do is learn how to find your ideal customer profile and using data and analytics.
Definitely. And what
Um,
you're referring to is like researching your analytics. So, how I found success with my business is that already had a target audience, but when you get your analytics, you start identifying the age, what platforms are predominantly more men or women, where are they located, how can people access you, do you have to be like live streaming, do you have to be in person, do people like pre-recorded, or do people like physical products, you know, like being in front of the camera, that's your physical part of you, but the service that you're providing is education, value, and all these things allow you to be more confident in who you are, and also give you that credentials that people are asking for. People want testimonies, see if the results work, because no one wants to be their first customer. I don't know
Right.
why, but people don't want to be your first customer. They want to hear like an exaggerated story of like how you made, like in your testimony, how did you get a company that was about to go for foreclosure to becoming profitable by $40,000? You know?
Right, right. You're saying people want to hear that story. Yes, you're right. And everyone wants to hear, most people want to hear a success story, but there are people who are called early adopters, right? And those are the people you want to get early on. And you have to realize that when you're selling early on and you don't have success stories, you're going to get a much smaller percentage of people. And so it's more of a numbers game. You have to go to more people and look for the ones that are going to be open-minded. In the case of plate rate, we actually have a financial incentive for the early adopters to make more of a carrot for the early adopters. So the people who join plate rate earlier make more money than the people who join later, on the restaurant side.
Definitely. And restaurants is a really tough field.
It is very competitive.
What do you think the ratio of a startup restaurant to being like maybe this has a possibility to sustain? When do you feel like that is like the mark year wise?
So the statistic I believe is that 80% of restaurants fail within the first 5 years. And
Hmm.
I'm just working on launching a podcast called Why Restaurants Fail that's going to go through all the different reasons that restaurants fail and how you can avoid them as a restaurant owner. So that's
Hmm.
coming soon to a podcast near you or to a podcast station near you. So
First,
um, yeah,
I
yeah, exactly. You heard it here first.
think it's important for people to understand like the legal things that go around, because there's certain softwares, there's certain criterias that are eligible for certain countries, certain districts. People, it's just like having a license, a permit, or anything that you want to do. You have to make sure that there's a need, there is a
Right.
why, there is impact. These are different business methods that we all look at, and
Hmm.
especially in technology, you're cracking the code. If I want anyone on my team, I want someone that's in the technology field, especially that cracks codes, because I would be able to figure out solutions a lot faster.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah. One of the things that even though I'm not writing code on a regular basis anymore, but I can write code and I do sometimes, but usually I'm not. But what the computer science training really gave me is the ability to take complicated problems and break them apart into smaller problems and solve them. And so it gives you the ability to solve, sometimes what would be considered intractable problems, which I try to do actually in my not-for-profit, the Free Thinker Institute. I try to give solutions to intractable problems or have dialogue about controversial problems and try
mhm.
to better understand it from a 360-degree perspective. So that's something we do on Tuesday evenings usually. And then we have a membership to the not-for-profit as well.
Do you feel like there's a community in your niche?
Yeah, I think if you mean the not-for-profit, like we definitely have a community of people who are intellectually curious, and then we have what we call the six intentions, which are things that we should all be intending to do all the time. And the first one is kind of the guiding principles. That is to always be polite, be the best version of yourself, seek truth rather than seek to be right, and to be fair. And I would argue as long as we're striving to do those things, we're, communicating our beliefs with other people transparently and authentically and listening to them with an open mind and using our critical thinking skills, which are the next two intentions, then we end up in a much better place than if we're not doing those things. And it's apolitical, but we do share political opinions, but the organization is apolitical as a not-for-profit has to be, and the values are apolitical. They, have been attractive to people on the extreme right, the extreme left, and everything in between.
Definitely. I have a couple of questions, and this is
Sure.
about your experience working with companies. How do you vet them?
Um, so you want to make sure that the company has a problem that you can solve. That's really the most important thing to me. So I usually like to understand more about the company first and what are their challenges? What are the things that they're going through that they need help with? And if there's nothing that they have that's a problem that I can help with, I'll be honest with them up front and be like, look, you look like you're in great shape. I don't think you need my help. That's pretty rare to be honest, because most restaurants will say, more profitability is a good thing. But I have met restaurant owners that said, you know what, I don't need to be more profitable. I'm happy where I am and I just don't want to change anything. And then I'm like, look, we're not the right fit for you because that's not our the type of client that we want. We want people who want to be very successful, very generous with their customers because we allow them to be, and attract a large set of loyal customers that are going to be coming back over and over again. So it really, I think entrepreneurship as a whole comes down to problem solving. It's understanding what the client's problems are, the prospects columns are, the person that you're trying to introduce something to, and if they have a problem and you can help them with it and they're willing to pay for it, then everything kind of works out. But they do have to know you and trust you. And so, as a salesperson, you need to be, first of all, not salesy because no one likes salesy people. But you have to, and I tend to be more salesy than I should because I'm not a sales guy. The best sales guy don't act salesy. And I'm not the best sales guy. I am very passionate about my products, and that comes through to prospects, and they've said that I'm a good sales guy, even though I disagree with them, respectfully. But they said that because I think I'm passionate about it, and I know that it'll be helpful for them.
Mhm.
But I think it's because I know they have a problem that I can help solve, and that has to come from the heart, and you have to really believe in your product. I think a lot of people try to sell products that they don't believe in, and I don't really recommend people do that. I think you have to have a good product, but then I have a product background, so I think the product is really important, and some people will disagree with me, but people will disagree about anything you say. If I say that Earth is an oblate spheroid, there are going to be some flat earthers that come up and say, nope, it's flat. So, but we all get to have our opinions, which is nice. And so far as I know, we still have free speech. At least we should.
And I also believe that it's one of the most powerful things, and people are just going on. You have to have a website. That's what I was told when I first started. I'm like, I think I need to build some credibility before I start paying maybe $100, $200 a month on software, email lists, and all this. Let me figure out what I want to do first. And what I like about your business is that you took the skill that you had in technology and coding, you took your ability to problem solve, and found a clientele that's actually interested in making more revenue and also building up their clientele. And
Hmm.
what better platform than a restaurant? People got to eat, people want to socialize, people want to gather and do stuff outside of work. And that's an all age group. What do
Yeah,
you go for a birthday party? Go out to eat. What do you
right,
do before your break? Go out to eat. What do you
right.
get off of work? Go out to eat. You know, people are
Yeah.
restaurants.
Everybody's got to eat. That's absolutely true. But I will say it is a hard industry to be in because there are so many people trying to sell to restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, we're very differentiated. So when people hear what we do, they're like, oh, I've never heard anything like that. Like a lot of them will, if they don't just tune out immediately. A lot of them just tune out everybody, 100% of people, because they've just heard so many undifferentiated sales pitches that they don't even listen. Which is a shame because those are restaurants that we could probably help even more, but we're not able to if they don't listen to us, right? And that's why part of the second intention is to always listen with an open mind, because if we don't listen with an open mind, we can't learn the reasons we're wrong and get closer to truth and get closer to fairness.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's really important that we're always listening with an open mind to other people because that's how we grow and learn to be, better versions of ourselves and be more successful in life.
What do you feel like people fear when it comes to AI and technology?
I would guess most people are afraid that it's going to take away their jobs, and I will say, yes, it's going to take away a lot of jobs, but the jobs it's going to take away are from the people that don't learn how to use AI. If you learn how to use AI, you can do at the minimum 30 or 40% more work than you were ever doing before. In some cases, it's 10x. You can literally do 10 times as much work. And if you're doing 10 times as much work as you were before, that you're going to be the person they want to keep, right? And so learning how to use AI effectively, which is very, I definitely am, at least 5x more productive using AI as a company than we were before. Um,
Mhm.
we use AI to great effect all across the company, and I've been sort of spearheading that and leading the use of AI across the company.
And I like how you said that because I'm a person that's just like, I like doing stuff myself, but I incorporated AI into my lifestyle.
Hmm.
So if I have some creative ideas, I don't burn out of ideas. I'm kind of like Tyler Perry in a way, where it's just like, okay, I have this video, I have this idea. I know that I want to write a blog and I want to go further in depth. Okay, chat GPT, summarize this and give me some bullet points. Okay, elaborate a little bit more. Okay, let's pick out the top three out of the five that you just suggested. Okay, let me start formatting things and make it a little bit better. Take some of the input, take it out. Then when it comes to editing, I use Grammarly. That is like my best friend.
Hmm.
I can't believe I wrote over almost 2 million words in just 2 years.
Wow,
That's how much writing I do.
it's a lot.
And it's like you said, it speeds up the process, but it allows you to get into like inner thoughts, dive deeper, understand things from an outside lens because we can only
Yeah.
understand from our perspective what we have observed from other people. But
Yep.
what's the mass saying?
Yep. And it sounds like you use AI in a way that requires you to think critically about the way you're using AI. How am I going to use it as a strategic tool? There was a study that came out not too long ago from MIT, I believe, that said that when people use AI, they lose critical thinking skills. And so I held an event on this in the FTI, and I talked about how there are actually studies of both, saying that you do and don't you lose you that you lose and that you gain critical thinking skills using AI. And what it comes down to is if you use AI in a way that helps you think at a higher level, which it's capable of doing, where it takes you out of the nitty-gritty, like, putting just rote words together, you're thinking more in a strategic way, and then you leverage AI to put it out there, and then you look at it and you approve or edit it for a final version, then you're using your critical thinking skills throughout the process. And there's a lot more to it than that. But if someone wants to go to YouTube and go Freethinker Institute AI critical thinking, they'll see the video, and it teaches you how to use AI in a way that improves your critical thinking skills rather than, the short answer is if you just tell AI, ask AI a question and take the answer and give it to someone without carefully reading it or processing it or evaluating it or pushing back against it sometimes. AI is wrong sometimes, and everyone knows this, but you have to know intuitively, like if AI is giving you an answer that just doesn't make sense, then you have to ask it some questions for clarification, and it's answering what it thought you meant instead of what you did mean. And guess what? That happens with humans all the time too. So a lot of times you ask a person a question, and if you don't ask it the right way, you'll get the wrong answer. And so AI has a lot of attributes that humans do, although it's not sentient, thankfully. But anyway, that's kind of my spiel on AI and critical thinking.
Definitely, for every input that you have, there's an output.
Hmm.
And you have to be conscious too. Because if you just come up with something that's short ended, like a yes or no type of question, don't be mad that I didn't give you a full response. You want everything to be open ended and dive deeper and deeper and deeper. And so I just like, wow, okay, I
Yeah.
understand. And people need to get used to reading books, doing workshops. All these things will make you even better in technology.
Yeah. And you also don't want to ask leading questions. You don't want to say, is it true that? You want to say, tell me about this. And then it'll give you information about it from an objective perspective. But AI is a little sycophantic, meaning it wants to tell you you're right all the time. And so if you tell it what your opinion is, then it's going to tell you that it agrees with you, which is true about a lot of humans too. A lot of people don't like to push back. So if you ask, and this is true for both people and AI, but if you ask sort of neutral, thoughtful questions about someone's opinion on something instead of saying, do you agree with me that, then you're going to end up with much better answers and you're going to do a much better job listening to the other person and understanding their perspective.
Definitely. So, do you have any tips for people that are getting into project management and software engineering or software management?
Yeah, I would say, look at vibe coding platforms. I think they're a great way to learn to build software these days. try to use the project for a tangible goal. And if you're looking for, a place where you can learn it, people can reach out to me. And, I do coach and mentor people. And we have a team of people that work together and teach each other. And like I mentioned, we're just started today. We kicked off our first entrepreneurial pod of, this accelerator slash boot camp sort of thing. And I'm hoping that that will grow so that we can teach more people how to be great entrepreneurs, and that it'll expand as a program if I can afford to expand it one way or another. So,
Definitely. I love this. I feel like we are discussing a lot about how you can develop and not just like stay stagnant.
yeah,
Like, and that people want to go all in on something, do go all in, but don't be afraid to branch out and learn other crafts as well. Because if you just stay stagnant at one tree, just like how people feel complacent with the job that they stayed with for 20, 30 years, that can be terminated just quickly overnight. Some people get let go right through an email and they're just like, what happened to my job? You know,
yeah,
want to be adaptable, be able to change and just adapt. That's the main focus that we're saying. Just adapt to everything.
yeah,
It has a loss, but take it on, okay, maybe I have skills in something else. Let me learn about that new craft. Or even tell that boss that's about to let you go, be like, oh, I'm skilled in this too. Or what are the tools that I need to learn to be ready for this new position that's available? Like you got to be proactive.
yeah. I agree, and I think growth is really the right direction to go is the one of personal growth and professional growth at the same time, and that's why it's part of the first intention of the FTI is to be the best version of ourselves. Because I would argue we're all on this, this journey of life, and if there is a purpose to it, and I believe there is, that purpose is to grow and learn as we go. And we did another event on reincarnation, which is an interesting topic that people say is very woo-woo, but interestingly, it's been studied by peer-reviewed science, and all the peer-reviewed science agrees that we do most likely reincarnate, which is a little weird to think of, but it could very well be true. And if it is, then we're growing not just for this life, but for the next one. Um,
Mhm.
and whether it's for this one or the next one doesn't really matter because, first of all, in this life, the more we grow and learn, the more successful we are. And if we're not being more successful, then we have to question whether we're growing in the right direction, right? And so, yeah, I try to facilitate personal growth and development as much as possible, both for myself and my team. And I always tell people, like, there are three circles, right? There's an inner circle here, which is your comfort zone, where you're not learning new things, but you're comfortable and you can execute. Then there's like the frame of my picture. Outside of that would be called the danger zone, where you're scared as hell and you're not learning and growing and developing. And then there's between this comfort zone and the outside danger zone, you have what I call the growth zone, where you're uncomfortable, but you are learning and growing and developing. And the closer you are to the comfort zone, the better able are to execute. And as you stay in the growth zone, eventually your growth zone will get bigger, and now it'll be this big, and things that used to be in your comfort zone are now, or in your growth zone are now in your comfort zone. And your growth zone will go bigger than the frame, and now you can actually do things that before you weren't capable of. And I would argue that's what we should all be striving to do is to stay uncomfortable in our growth zone, but not so uncomfortable that we're in the danger zone and not so comfortable that we're in the comfort zone. Does that make sense?
Definitely. Like, look at it like if you're about to go on an airplane for the first time. And this is what realization I had. I was like, I can yell and scream all I want. But at the end of the day, this thing has to land and I still got to get back home.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sit in this little seat, watch this TV, and enjoy the view that looks like Google Maps. Okay?
Yeah. And in fact, there's even another way is like that way you're kind of tuning it out. And my daughters, when they were first on an airplane, they were very nervous when there was turbulence. And then I told them, think about it. Like planes almost never crash. It's very rare. Now, mind you, with firing of all the FAA people, we had a couple of crashes in the last year. But normally it's super unlikely for planes to crash. You're much safer flying than you are driving. And so I just tell my daughters, look, even if we're gonna crash, there's nothing we can do about it anyway. So you might as well just enjoy the turbulence. It's fun if you enjoy it. So now they love the turbulence. It's like their favorite part of the plane ride, like me.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, and if you embrace change that way, then change can be fun. You just have to look at it from a different perspective and say, look, if there's nothing you can do about it, just embrace it, enjoy it, and move forward. And then change can be fun, and things that were scary before and in your danger zone now become in your growth zone and then turn into your comfort zone once you start enjoying it.
Yes, definitely. Like if you're like, don't let go of that fire that you have inside of you.
Yeah.
You're gonna accomplish that goal, just picture yourself as already accomplishing it. And you're just taking the micro steps to getting to you where you picture yourself. You know, if we keep thinking, oh, this is never gonna happen, oh, there's too much competition, there's always gonna be competition. But guess
Yep.
what? You started now versus the people that are starting way after you. You already put your foot in the door. They have,
Yep. Yep.
so you have better chances of survival and doing anything that you want to do. Just like these people that are starting up these restaurants, they already know that there's high chances of them failing. The statistics are out there, like you said, 80%. They already know that, but they know they have worked on this so hard. They probably went to school. They probably did a ton of competitions. They have applied for grants, took out loans. Eventually, they'll get that money back. They'll start building a team, opening more hours, have events, functions, all these things to get people rallied up. But it takes time, it takes effort. But I love that your company is really seeing the potential that a lot of these banks don't even give them because they're just like, you're too under the water, you know?
Right.
And you're just
Yeah.
like, you're a perfect client for me. I can help you. Just give me a chance. We'll go through this conversation screening for maybe like a month, I'm assuming, and let's implement some action.
Hmm.
These are our goals for maybe the first month. We're identifying the problems. We're applying each solution 2 weeks at a time, and we're meeting each other week to see like how have we made progress. And now
Hmm.
I'm gonna step away for a little bit, give you a month or two, see how you do on your own. If you need my help for anything, feel free to reach out to me. We'll wait until
Hmm.
the 2 months are out.
Hmm.
Then they're
Yeah, exactly.
confident.
Like cadence, but it's similar in spirit to that. I want to coach and mentor people in a win-win way, right? Where, they join us, they learn a lot of skills, and they have a revenue share or equity stake in the company that they're a part of. And if they want to go do their own thing, they can, right? And, it's, I just want people to be successful, whether it's with us or without us, but I want to help people get the skills that they need to be successful.
Thank you. So we'll wrap up by saying that technology is nothing to be afraid of. People are losing their jobs all the time. It doesn't matter what industry. Doesn't matter if you're in healthcare, technology, finance. There's always going to be someone to take over. It might be a person, it could be AI, but always look for opportunities to grow on your own. Get help from a mentor if you can afford it. Workshops, they probably have local things. You can even go to Apple or even Best Buy or even Google. They have people there to help you with whatever that you need. So just keep trying and trying. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I love talking to you, Garrett. I just want to make sure that you all feel that confidence that we both try to present. We're not experts at everything, but we try to be experts at the things that we're most passionate about and trying to help out our clients. Let us get the opportunity to understand you and become one with you and take on that journey. so,
Absolutely.
so how can people find you?
LinkedIn, Garrett Lang. And if you go Garrett Lang Plate Read or Garrett Lang Cornell, then I come right up. Right now, it's my branding because of the podcast is very restaurant profitability consultant focused.
Mm,
But I have a pretty diverse background, as I mentioned. So, I help build software in a number of ways and do profitability consulting for non-restaurants as well as restaurants. But restaurants are kind of my primary niche.
definitely. And whenever you let me know when you start your podcast, I'll give people a shout out so they can follow you on there. You can
Great.
follow me on YouTube, the BPerryFilms Experience, same thing on Substack. And then on TikTok and Instagram, BPerryFilms, and LinkedIn, Bobby L. Perry. This was a great episode. I just love technology and I love people that love helping other people. This was really a great presentation right here. And I hope
Thank you. As far as helping people help other people, I love to say, if we don't help each other, who's going to help us? Right. And when you say it that way, it's so obvious. We have to help each other. Otherwise, we'll never get help. Right. So, um, I think it's so important that we help each other.
thank you. So I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Stay tuned for the next episode.